Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Dreamers Lab podcast by Metaverse Summit. So today we have a real builder in the space in Web3, actually. Welcome to my friend Gwendall. So Gwendall has been building in the space since a couple of years, having currently 2 projects, and he has multiple experiences also in the tech space. So can't wait to see the whole introduction from Gwendall himself. So hi, Gwendall.
Hey Yingzi, thanks for having me. Good to see
So
you.
yeah, amazing. Yeah, can you maybe tell us a little bit more about your current, 2 titles, and also maybe a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. About myself, so I'd say, as you said, I'm pretty much a builder in the space. That's how I would describe myself. So I'm the founder of Metahood. It's a marketplace for digital real estate. We launched publicly earlier this year, been in beta last year, and earlier this year launched publicly. And more recently, we launched Pancam, which is pretty much a snapshot for NFTs, if you want to describe it this way. At the current stage, it's an app, mobile app, to take videos and photos with your PFP and your CryptoPunk right now.
Amazing. So from this 2 project you founded, we can say that you are connoisseur of, let's say, NFT and the metaverse space. So
Yeah.
maybe can you tell us a little bit about your background story, maybe in tech in the beginning, and what brought you to, the NFT, maybe like all the NFT DJs in lockdown, and got into other communities?
Yeah, sure. I've been in tech for about 10 since early 2010, so it's been a while. I started in none other field. I started in finance originally, and got bored pretty quickly. I just got interested, was much more interested in building and just creating, making ideas come to life versus just funding projects, basically. So went into the entrepreneurship route in Web2 at the time. It was early 2010. Didn't really get interested I didn't really know actually about blockchain and crypto, and just actually started discovering about it in 2013. But just, as an investor, basically, I didn't really build anything in the space. It was not, it didn't really click with me at the time, unfortunately. It would have been good to be much earlier. So no, I got much more interested in Web3 in late 2020. For me, it was really NFTs that was the hook. That's what hooked me in the space, actually, and this whole notion of digital ownership and how you can build around it versus what we used to have on the internet, right? It's just like having your email and just a couple of ways to prove your identity and to interact with other people on the internet and platforms, social media accounts, etc. But to me, really, the idea of to have like a provable ownership online really clicked with me, and just started building in the space and actually getting pretty deep in it.
So from your 2 projects, I also have a feeling that you are kind of a ownership maxi. Let's say Metahood is actually with virtual land sale. It's based on the fact that people actually want to own a piece of land and some interaction around it in the metaverse. And your new project is also around ownership. So people who bought PFP NFTs potentially want to use it to prove that they own it, but also to have some social interaction with the NFT community, but also potentially outside of the community, correct? So around the topic of ownership, why do you think, or if you think you are a ownership maxi, you believe in it, you believe that people want it so much that they want to do a lot of things around it?
I mean, it's more a philosophical question, but I think it's how we are wired as human beings. We just own things, and we are quite it's pretty much something we are bound to. And on the internet, in particular, it's true. Like you start seeing it with NFTs, right? You have these new sort of digital assets, and people are really can be proud to own them, can be just trying to make it for financial gains, but people are really attached to the idea of owning something and just making sure it's theirs and it cannot be stolen and taken. And that's this for a lot of reasons. If you look at the genesis of, like, Ethereum, like, and Vitalik, who was who got wrecked in World of Warcraft. Is just people had bad experiences with the notion of ownership as we used to have online. So I think it's great to have a way now to prove that whatever you spend time on to acquire online or just like get, you have 100% chance to keep it, and nobody can take it away from you.
Indeed. However, we are facing some situations of specifically in metaverse land sale. Maybe people bought some lands, however, they are not making the maximum usage of it. And we also kind of are seeing again and again the vacant world syndrome, where you enter into a metaverse, you're by yourself, and at the same time, a lot of metaverses are not having enough experiences and social interaction. So maybe can you tell us a little bit about how things evolved over the last, let's say, 2 years, and how do you think this syndrome or problem can evolve?
I think there are multiple reasons for it. It's true that especially during the bull market, you had this whole narrative from platforms building metaverses that the whole space being hyped by Facebook renaming and changing its name to Meta, and so you had a big hype around it, and a lot of platforms starting saying, okay, now we have these new virtual worlds, and you will be able to own a piece of it, and I think it was compelling to a lot of people. A lot of the way you envision this virtual world, you can really see it as a projection of the real world. And for a lot of people, it was just an easy way to think, okay, I have this real world, I can own a piece of the land on the real world and build a house or do whatever on it. So I'm gonna do the same thing on an online world. And it's really compelling, and it's how all this project launched and successfully raised money. But the flip side is that it's really depending now on these platforms to provide the platform for people to do whatever they want and to have fun and to socialize or whatever the goal is. But the problem is that for a lot of these platforms, you have a chicken and egg problem. It's only interesting if you have other people in there so that can enjoy the experience at the same time as you. And it's true that until today, like, none of these platforms has really managed to attract the critical mass for them to be interesting. So that's pretty much the problem, like we've seen recently with number of the main metaverse platforms being very low versus Fortnite, Roblox, and other Web2 alternatives.
So as a entrepreneur in the metaverse space, could you maybe also share your experiences, key learning, some tips, but also maybe some of the challenges in iterating the business model, also chatting with investors in the peak time and in difficult time, also do the product market fit and go-to-market strategy, all kinds of aspects of the entrepreneurship. Can you maybe kindly share with our community as well?
Sure. What I'm really focused on and trying to be aware of, it's not to build something nobody wants, and I think it's a common problem in Web3, especially during the bull market. A lot of money funding was very easily accessible, and tons of teams got funded and started building and executing on ideas that actually didn't happen. When you think about all these platforms being 3D immersive experiences where you can access through a keyboard and a mouse, and to expecting that 1 million people will be there overnight and it would be the new platform, it didn't happen this way, for multiple reasons. Maybe execution reasons for a lot of them. Maybe there's just this vision of the whole world being in a virtual world with a keyboard and mouse or a gamepad not actually happening, at least until today. And the whole market, like everything started losing face in crypto, and it really impacted also all these open metaverse projects for, it's pretty unfair, the way it happened, but all the scandals around, FTX and Luna and all these platforms collapsing because of bad management really tainted the space. So that's another big problem we have as a space in Web3 and NFTs, is the general public assimilates crypto and we scam, to say it in a really simple way. And I'm not saying it's not gonna last. We've seen it for the past crypto cycles. During the ICO bubble, after the ICO bubble collapse, people had really also bad image of Web3, and then it came back. People started gaining trust again in Web3, and it's going to happen again. But it's just a matter of time. So yeah, I mean, what I was trying to say is just what I'm trying to do is really to keep a critical eye and to be to be clear-minded over what we are building, not to build something that's dead end. So we are staying flexible, and yeah, we are basically, we keep on being curious. That's what I think everybody should do in the space is, yeah, just don't fall into false narratives. Don't blind trustly any narrative, and just try to think for yourself and just think how what you would like to come up in the future for the space.
So regarding what you said, so definitely there are a lot of projects. Of course, in creative industry, we need to come up with a creative idea to create a new market as well, right? Sometimes the market is not there. You need to find the way to engage people. However, it is a problem that some of the founders are focusing more on the solution instead of on the problems to solve. So maybe for your second project in Web3, how did you choose this idea? And potentially regarding what you said, what are your vision on the PFP? Meaning that we know a lot of people change their profile photo on Telegram, on social media, even on LinkedIn. Some were complaining that they wanted to upload a PFP, but it didn't work. But then now we can see a lot of people actually are putting it off their profile photo. And what's the future and the state of art and the usage of PFP?
Yeah, I think PFPs are really fascinating. It's just a way to embody your digital identity. That's not necessarily exactly the same that you can have in real life. And it's one of the beauties of internet is you can just like incarnate whoever you want. It can be also, it can have some bad consequences, but I think it's a beautiful thing for your online life to be able to change your PFP and have an illustration of who something you're proud of. In my case, yeah. So how Punkcam came to life, it's really from my own experience. So I've been a CryptoPunk holder for some time, and actually been quite involved in the community and IRL events. I've been organizing events in Paris, Punk's branches during ECC actually for the past 2 years, and big Punk branch during NFT Paris as well. And one of the things that came was a fear of being doxxed for a lot of people, especially in CryptoPunks. It's quite a in crypto years. It's quite an old collection. 2017. It's like forever in in the NFT space. And you have a lot of people who have been like deeply in the space, and for a long time, and that are really attached to the notion of anonymity. A lot of them are anonymous. Nobody knows their real identity, and a lot of them don't want to be doxxed. Don't want their real face to appear in pictures. And it's always a thing where you have this kind of events, and people are happy to meet each other and want to take pictures, but you always have this weird moment where, okay, I want to take a picture, but I don't really want to be doxxed, right? I don't want my face to appear online. So at first it was really just a simple solution for this problem. It's just like, let's build an app where you take pictures and it's straight away your Punk face in it. So that's the like really the practical aspect of it. But the more another aspect of it is really my the rabbit hole I fell into with mixed reality. We were talking about it earlier. I'm not convinced the whole world is going to you go in digital world through a keyboard and mouse and gamepad. I think it's a lot of people are gamers. A lot of people are already spending a lot of time online in virtual worlds as gamers, but it's not the general population. It's not the moms and pops, and it's category of gamers, usually young people. and it's great. But I think, this narrative of saying we are going to have mainstream platforms where people will, connect with keyboard and mouse, I'm not really buying it. I don't really believe in it. On the other side, thinking of you interacting in virtual worlds in your, in a real physical environment, but just interacting with, for example, smart glasses, let's say, and just interacting with, natural movement, just your hands and voice probably, is much more compelling. And I think, such platforms has a much better shot at becoming mainstream. So yeah, I fell deeply into this rabbit hole, and yeah, that's really what I'm exploring right now.
Indeed, in real life, NFT community meetup is a very special experience. I am not a big NFT holder, but I had some occasions of participating in some NFT communities meetup. People are really excited about it, discovering the face behind, the PFP, or sometimes the Discord handle, etc., etc. However, I'm not a NFT DJ, so I'm really curious on your opinions around what actually people are looking for, in a sense that we are actually looking for in real life connection, right? You mentioned the dinner, you mentioned different in real life meetups, etc. People do want this. However, people also want to be anonymous, at least for the punk community. So maybe in a bigger picture sense, what do people actually want? Is it to meet up with new like-minded people? Is it to share a private virtual space to discuss, or to prove that they own this piece of land or PFP? So maybe can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, I think there is probably a part of it that is, as you just mentioned, social status. Maybe to some people it's say, oh yeah, I own this rare piece of art or avatar, and yeah, look at me, like the same way we do it with a car or another physical object. I don't think it's the main point of it, at least for the communities I know, and like CryptoPunks, for instance. I think it's just much more. So a lot of them are just like really, art collectors, and it's a piece of art. And to a lot of people, they're just happy to be in, as art lovers and digital art, history participants to own a piece of it. I think it's a critical point. And yeah, the social aspect you mentioned is definitely important also. Each community, I think, has its own, set of values and tend to believe in the same things regarding the internet and Web3 and yeah, this type of event just allow you to this type of communities really allow you to connect with people who are usually have a common point with you in a way or another. And it's also a good way to break the ice usually when you are part of these communities, the PFP communities, and you meet online or in real life with people from the same community, and you tend to interact with each other online. It's usually there is no weirdness when you meet. It's you already know each other from online, or even if you've never interacted with, you have this common thing of we are part of the same community, and we have this common point. So yeah, it's definitely interesting.
So maybe do you have also some fun experiences, key learning, and insights from the in real life NFT community events you organize? You mentioned, of course, there's different DNAs in different communities. I guess punks and apes are quite special ones, but then different chains also have their different community vibe, I suppose. So maybe as a NFT OG and DJ, can you maybe share more insights and stories around it?
I mean, yeah, it's. I think it's pretty interesting to see how the vibe can be different from one community to another, for sure. I mean, I cannot think of any like anecdotes or stuff like I shouldn't think about it and tell you again. But yeah, if you look at I don't know Miladies, for example, it's just it's very interesting. But it's a bunch of crazy people. and you look at them online, it's pretty fun. It's really this whole 4chan vibe where it's super direct, and everybody as a persona. And I think from all of them, I mean, yeah, for most of them, I think it must be something really different from their real life persona, but they all incarnate this character online, and I think it's pretty interesting to see the vibe change from one community to another.
Indeed. So there are so many differences among these different communities. To find a product market fit that is kind of applicable to all the different DNAs and vibes is quite challenging, I suppose, as well, right? So, Milady, as you mentioned, potentially, partially the NFT DNA is defined by the several co-founders, the first batch of holders. And what do you think of other elements that could be defining or impacting the vibes and the future of different NFT communities?
Yeah, we've seen it recently, I mean, for better or worse, but the big impact is really the trust, the holders put in the founding team. I think it's really a critical thing, because when these projects launch, usually, it was just a small group of people that started them and started basically building the vibe, and the culture around the community. So we've seen it, again and again these past months. You have a lot of these projects that launch with clear roadmaps, and didn't always execute it. Sometimes pivoted, sometimes get acquired and change strategy. And I think during the bear market, that we've been living through for the past few months, you had a lot of negativity in this in some communities, because first, like, the whole market collapsed, so prices went down, everything went down, and a lot of people that had saw a certain number on their balance when they look at the worth of their NFTs, just had the feeling to lose a lot of money, even though for a lot of them they didn't sell. So it's just like a virtual loss. But anyway, they feel they lost a lot, and a lot of people just felt rugged by the founding teams. Some projects just pivoted. I won't name names, but a lot of, some projects say, okay, we're not an NFT project anymore, and so just basically made a finger to everybody was just like invested in them, as an NFT project. Some other teams just switch away from what they're building. You had some communities that were really about gaming and 3D creation, and just switch more towards fashion and clothing, and for all these execution reasons, a lot of communities just became negative, and people lost patience and people left. So that's why also I really value much more, and I think I'm much more interested in communities that are self-governed, that don't rely on a central team to to build their vibe, or to don't rely on any roadmap from anyone, and are just here for the common PFP point. Just having this piece of art and owning it, and just being happy to be a part of a group of holders, basically.
Very intriguing. So maybe for the last question, a challenging one potentially, is we are familiar with kind of the basic vision of some of the famous PFP NFT community. Apes, for example, is really imagining a open world where the holders can come and enjoy storytelling, but also interaction in a virtual way. At the same time, this can keep let's say the holders anonymous, but also providing a certain level of interaction. And there are also some more like investment DAO-ish communities. So they are actually having a real utility for NFT holders to get an option of investment, etc. So could we maybe imagine, let's say in 5 to 10 years, with the utility of this NFT evolving, what do you think will be the scenario of the whole picture of NFT PFT and NFT especially?
Yeah, I think we already have the bricks to do, to do it. Like we already to do compelling experiences around it. We already have this ownership layer where we can, be certain that you own a piece of, digital art or digital assets. Other people are able to, build experiences on top of it. The main problem is that right now it's still, we are a niche basically. We're really a small group of people who own these assets, and it's great in between us. We can build experiences, but yeah, I think it will be much more interesting whenever you see virtual assets becoming more mainstream. I think it will definitely come, especially through wearables. People will pay more attention to digital assets. So it will be interesting to see how your virtual identity you build can become viewable by anyone basically. I mean, and that's what is great right now. We have this blank canvas of ideas to build on, and it's everything is just to build right now.
Yes, it's still early to define a lot of things, of course, and the
No,
playground is
definitely.
big for different builders, such as yourself, of course.
Yeah.
So many thanks for your time today, Gwendall. So maybe
Sure.
a last word to fellow metaverse and Web3 builders. Of course, HODL, HODL. The bull market is coming back again. Build infrastructure, but then can you maybe share your last insights around it as well?
Yeah, no, definitely. Don't. I mean, something that I try to remind myself every day is just like focus on what matters. Focus on building and try to create value, and try not to look at floor prices or like crypto prices or all the latest news with regulation or that can be good or bad, and try to just avoid the noise and build cool stuff. That's it.
Amazing. With that, thank you so much for your time, Gwendall, and all the best for your projects.
Thank you, Ingzi. Same. See you soon.